Whether it's moments of natural crisis, horrible tragedies, or just hard cultural moments, there are things in life from which we would love to shield our kids. And when they're really little, maybe we can. But our kids grow, and our ability to control what they hear and see seems to diminish with each passing year. Our kids will hear about school shootings, racial tensions, and natural disasters. There are things that they will hear that will scare them. So as parents, how do we step into that? How do we provide support without giving too much information? Parent Cue has a wonderful podcast on how to talk to your kids about crises that I would highly recommend. One of the things that they suggest is to have regular touch points already in place with your kid. It's always easier to talk to our kids about hard things when conversation is a natural part of our routine. So think about your relationship with each of your kids. Where are your touch points? When are the moments where you are making room for conversation? Where are the times when your kids are the most talkative and the most willing to share? Continue to use those moments to build relationship with your kids so that when the time comes to have hard conversations, that rhythm of talking already exists. The Parent Cue podcast also recommends balancing transparency with oversharing. Depending on the age of our kids, we'll want to consider what is appropriate to share. A great suggestion is, rather than going in with an agenda about what we think is important, we can ask our kids questions to see what is really significant and on their minds. By asking our kids questions, we can see what they might be ready to process through. Kids are observing everything around them, and so it's important that we as parents are not afraid to help guide how they're interpreting what they're observing. If you have a kid who doesn't seem to want to talk about something hard, a great question that you might be able to ask them would be something like, how are your friends processing this event? Or how are your friends dealing with this difficult scenario? Your child's response will probably give you a glimpse into their heart as they talk about others. As Christian parents, we want to help our kids and to listen to them as they process hard things, but we also need to take it a step further. This is because we want to see our kids able to understand what is happening around them in the world and to interpret that through a biblical lens. In other words, they need to be trained to think about things as a follower of Jesus. As parents, we have the opportunity to lead and mentor our kids as they learn to do this well. So as you process things that are happening in this world, remember that your kids might be too. Don't leave them alone in their thoughts. Most likely, they're processing them with someone, so why not you? As you enter into these conversations with your kids and teens, don't be surprised if some of their feelings or reactions to the world around them are not the same as yours. Allow them to process and to ask hard questions. Rather than always giving them answers, it's also okay to just ask them questions in return, or to just listen. Help them to think well and critically with a biblical lens. A great question that you can ask your kids is, where in the Bible do you see support for that? And above all, just listen. If you aren't sure how to respond to something, wait. Process, pray, do research, and come back to the conversation another time. Our kids need our ears and gentle guidance more than they need our answers. Be a safe place to process hard things and continually point your child to their loving Father.
Thank you, Jenna, for that message. And thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Fridays Are for Families. We place a high value on discipleship, specifically at home, because we believe that strong disciples are made at home. And that is why we have a heart to do what we can to empower and equip you to grow as a disciple of Jesus yourself and a disciple maker of your kid. If you have any specific requests for information you would like to hear about, we invite you to share them with us, either by commenting on this video on YouTube or Facebook, or by emailing us at family@lifeatpathway.com. We look forward to seeing you next week.